What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Nemotron Labs live stream. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues today, Zach and Moran. We have office hours today, so we don't have a demo to open up with for you guys. So we're going to actually jump into introductions first. And any questions you guys have, please slam the chat with them. All we're here to do today is answer questions you might have about Nemotron or agentic AI, anything associated with our previous content, or just questions you have generally about how agents, AI, and Nemotron all fit together. Zach, why don't you kick off the introductions and tell us, who you are, where you're joining us from.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. It's good to be back on the streams. Haven't been on for a while. Chris has been holding down the fort. Zach, I'm on the developer community team, here to service all your needs. We're doing these live streams for you, the community. It's all about you guys. So please ask questions now and forever. Find us on all our channels. We'll share them all throughout this stream and forever into time. And, we appreciate you joining us Thanksgiving week for all those in the US. But my background, computer graphics. That's why I'm here,
And Zach, I heard it's pretty early for you in the day. It's definitely not very late. Is that correct?
It is. It is 3:00 in the morning where I am, coming to you live from somewhere around the world. All for NVIDIA. So thank you for Moran and Chris for joining me on this crusade as we show people what is Nemotron.
This should be a fun one. So normally, guys, actually, Zach's with us most weeks, but he's behind the scenes, making the screens go up and down, typing in the chat. So you feel his presence even if you don't normally see him. Thanks for joining us today, Zach. We also have with us Moran. Moran, you were with us last week, but let the people who aren't able to catch that know who you are and what you do here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. I'm Mehran. I'm a product research engineer here at NVIDIA. And I'm here to answer all your questions when it comes to models, fine-tuning, building agentic systems. As Chris already mentioned, we had a live stream last week on building your own Bash agent. So feel free to shoot your questions. I'll be more than happy to assist.
Let's go. Already we've got a great question in the chat that I think I'm going to start with today from Stefan, which is, what is Nemotron? Hey, we may as well start with the hard stuff. So I'll let my colleagues go first on this one. What is Nemotron to you, Mehran?
So Nemotron, when people typically hear the name, they may think of the models and all that, but Nemotron here at NVIDIA is beyond all of that. It comprises models, it comprises recipes, the data that is used to build all those models. And here at NVIDIA, we believe in open model development, so that if something works well for us, we want the world to know, to be able to replicate that success. So for me, Nemotron means all of that.
And Zach, what about you? You've seen enough of these streams. You're in a lot of these conversations with us. What is Nemotron?
I think Nemotron, coming from a background that I come from, I'm not as hardcore as Chris and Moran, but I would say from a community perspective, it's a tool that helps developers, engineers, and even if you're not, communicate your message, and your product to the world. And being at NVIDIA, it's something that we try to strive for, try to help the community with their issues, getting that message out there, streamlining it. And, that's why people like Chris come on here every week to share thoughts, opinions with all of you.
Yes. And, I think the truth is in there, right? For me, Nemotron is maybe most technically a family of open models with open weights, training data, and recipes, delivering leading efficiency and accuracy for building specialized AI agents. That's what I might say it is most technically. Definitely not reading that, by the way, from our developer page. But I think it's the idea of that open models, and open not just as in weights, are very important for the ecosystem. And it's our Nemotron expresses our commitment to not just models, but also, all of the other kind of bells and whistles, or just learned actually that some people might think that means extraneous things. So let's say all of the really important core things about models, are being discussed through a more open than traditional lens. And so Nemotron, that's what Nemotron is. You can simplify it and say it's just a family of models, but it's also the data sets and the training methodology and how we built them and where we built them and why we built them all there. So Steven, great question to kick us off. Thanks for getting us into that discussion. We have as well a question, I think, that are there Nemotron demos for DGX Spark from at AVRS 2008? Yes. Not only are there demos for Spark using Nemotron, but also there's a specific NIM, which is the Nemo Inference Microservice container for Nano V2, which is a Nemotron model that's custom built for Spark. So it's meant to be performant on Spark. Moran, do you have anything to add? Have you seen anything cool, in terms of Spark demos with Nemotron?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the main things about Nemotron is we are trying to cover different spectrum of hardware and make it more accessible to people who are using, maybe not data center grade hardware, but maybe they're gaming GPUs or maybe a DGX Spark. And it's a great showcase to show how flexible these models are and how you can deploy them in all these different development and also deployment scenarios. So DGX Spark is obviously, a very self-contained system, and to be able to run the state-of-the-art models on that, it's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is the idea. There's so many, there's so many things you can do with this combination of technology. Zach, same question. I wonder if you've seen anything cool in the wild in your travels with something like combining Spark and Nemotron.
In the wild, no, but maybe every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, you will see our DGX Spark live streams, and perhaps in the very near future, we can do one with Nemotron.
I mean, that sounds hype to me. A little bit biased, but obviously, that sounds hype to me. Guys, just in case you're joining now, so this is the office hours live stream for Nemotron Lab. So please, any questions you have about Nemotron or the surrounding, agentic AI ecosystem, please throw that in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer questions as we go through. We have another question from Umar Farouk Khan. Any plans to open source the EVS temporal sampler weights used in Nemotron Nano 2 VL? So EVS is the efficient video sampling technique, which is if you're wondering what is this all about, right? You can imagine like you have footage, right? So a video. And maybe that video doesn't change all too much, like security cam footage, right? Most of the time, it's kind of just looking at one spot and like nothing's really going on. But occasionally, there's some action. Someone walks through, a bird flies by, maybe like a paper bag tumbles through, like from Katy Perry's fireworks or something like that. But the idea is that the efficient video sampling will let you kind of condense all of that nothing going on time. It'll let you condense it way down so that you don't have to you don't have to worry about all of these kind of wasted frames where nothing interesting is happening. In terms of any plans to open source, I believe we have open sourced the model. We're very happy to do that, as well as the technical report, which goes into some detail on EVS. So Umar, I hope that answers the question that you've posted. Yes. Okay. Let's. Oh, this is a great question from Get a Custom One. Llama Nemotron 253B gave the stack a 96% A+ for security and an overall composition score of 92%. I guess my question is for me: is there a way to API into Llama Nemotron 253 billion parameter? Moran, where can the good people go if they want to access our models through an endpoint?
So one of the endpoints that's available for everybody are the endpoints on build.nvidia.com. These are all managed endpoints running on an infrastructure that's responsive. Obviously, there are some limitations on how many queries you can submit to these endpoints. But for anybody who wants to just start with these models, I would strongly recommend checking them out. There are also open router endpoints that host some of these Nemotron models that you can also check out.
Let's go. Zach, if you wouldn't mind pulling up my screen here that I'm about to share for you.
That disappeared for a second.
I will actually share the build.nvidia.com site. And this is where you can kind of go to access all of our different models. So I'll zoom in a little bit here so you guys can actually see it. But the idea is this is where you can access like all of our models. So if you ever are wondering where to go, you want to try a model out, you can just go ahead and click the search glass and type the name of the model that you want. In this case, we're talking about Llama 3.1 Nemotron Ultra 253B V1. And then you can use it not just through the chat window, but you can actually go ahead and click view code. And that's going to give you some options for code that you can use to test this in whatever environment you want. If you need an API key, you can just click generate API key. And if you decide you really love the model, we actually provide some instructions on how you might deploy this. Though the Ultra model obviously is a bit of a beefy boy, so you'll need access to some hardware for that. And so we'd recommend trying it out with this UI or the API itself. But the broad answer here is that you can try all of the different models that we offer here on through these endpoints. So great question from the chat about how we can use these. Yes. Okay. We will keep slamming the chat, guys. Thank you, by the way, for all the great questions. Let's go. We will go to the next one. Also from Get a Custom One. Can you download any Nemotron models locally? Which is a great question. The answer, of course, yes. All of them. In fact, we have a tab that we can share here, and that will be all of our models right here. Many models. Again, because the kind of idea of Nemotron is that it's meant to be very open, right? We offer the model weights through things like Hugging Face, so you can download the model, use it, to do what you need to do. Make sure to check the license. A lot of our Nemotron models are commercially licensed, but we have a lot of research models too that are more meant for research and things like that as we explore the huge field that is these models. With that in mind, Moran, I have a question for you, which is like what's some of your favorite like recent Nemotron bent research, right? So like what are some of the things that you've kind of noticed us releasing in terms of research, and what stands out to you as something like uniquely useful?
Absolutely. So for when it comes to these Nemotron models, I guess the techniques that we're using, it's very different from many other models that maybe different companies are releasing. So to be more precise, this Nemotron Nano model, which uses the hybrid Mamba and attention architecture, it's very interesting to me because it allows you to stay in the efficiency domain and really care about your token efficiency, requirements for your application, as well as be very accurate. And all of this is, as Chris is highlighting here on the screen, are captured in our technical report for the model. And this really allows us to release models that are small and can work across many different types of hardware, but also very efficient. Another aspect that is interesting that we should also talk about is the fact that we have this budget control, for prompting these models. Basically, you can tell these models how much they should think and reason about a problem before giving you the answer. And that really increases the flexibility of these models in different deployment scenarios. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, all of the research is great, but I am also a big fan of the efficiency research. I think we have this like saying, right, that we love saying, which is faster models or smarter models. And so when you build models to be more efficient and to leverage, and that's efficiency through the whole stack, right? Data efficiency, inference efficiency, training efficiency, all of it, right? When you focus on that kind of research, I think it helps you build ultimately smarter models because they're in some ways faster, or you're not using as many resources, so you can iterate more quickly. I know that Moran, when we've talked before about this, is that iteration speed, right, is quite impactful in terms of how much you can get done, and ensuring that you're actually getting better at the tasks you hope to get better at in a reasonable timeline. So I think that research is just always going to be, Team Green's specialty, right? We love making things go fast. We love making GPUs go burr. And I think that's as well for me, the best. Zach, what about you, man? What's your favorite Team Green research in the model space in the last few months? If you have something.
Oh man, Team Green research. Vision, I think that would be my in the model space. That's my background, is visual computer graphics. Very much still drawn to that. I know people love passing code back and forth underneath the hood, but I'm more of a give me a visual editor any day.
Yeah. And you know what? Like that's something we just released is our VL, our vision language model, right? And I mean, it's leaps and bounds ahead of the previous iteration. And one of the things about Nemotron is that we're not just like dumping these models off on the side of the road and then carrying on to the next thing. We're actually we're going to keep iterating. We're going to keep making these models better and better. We're going to keep trying to push the limits, right? So what is Nano V2 today? We've already announced that there's Nano V3 coming down the pipe, right? So same thing with vision. I think those extra modalities really make models just better. A great question that we get all the time, Moran. This one's for you. At Solomon Sheik Official asks, for someone new to Nemotron, what is the best small project to try that teaches both model usage and building a basic agent? I think you might have something like this in your wheelhouse.
Yes, absolutely. And what a great question, because I'm a firm believer in learning by trying new things and building things around that thing that you're trying to learn. And recently we put out a few different blogs and videos on building different agents with Nemotron. So we have a research agent, we have a RAG agent, we also have a bash agent. So most recently we did a live stream on that bash agent where we show how easy it is to build a computer use agent using Nemotron, and with just a few lines of Python code in under 1 hour. So we basically cover all of the basic principles for building an agent powered by NVIDIA Nemotron, and we show that you can make that workflow much simpler if you use other agentic frameworks such as LangGraph and LangChain. It's really good to understand what is happening under the hood, in my opinion, before using libraries that are really geared towards production grade applications. Because if you know all the basics, then you can always modify those libraries to suit your needs and your applications.
I mean, yeah, Murad's being a little bit humble here, or whatever the right word is, but he produced a really, really good blog exactly about this, and it ties into the rest of our learning ecosystem at NVIDIA. But the idea is you can get started. All you need is an hour of free time, and you can actually build something that does something on your computer, and kind of get to experience what these systems are like under the hood. Zach, maybe it's time to throw up some community slides that include some links for you guys to those learning paths. So these are our 2 learning paths. They have the same link because they're in the same workshop, but the idea is that we have the how to build an AI agent. This is even simpler, right? This is like the I've never heard of agents before. I need somewhere to get started. And then we have how to build agentic RAG application. This builds right off of that first workshop, how to build an AI agent. You can dive right into Moran's blog, which is the Bash agent. But if you're confused by the word agent, I'd recommend probably starting with the learning path. We'll go to the next slide here. You can visit us anytime at Discord. I'm in there all the 24/7, basically. Just shoot me a ping. Discord.gg/NVIDIA developer, #Nemotron models. I'll either be able to answer your question or I'll get you to the people who can. So to make sure that we get an answer to your question, please shoot us a message. We love doing these office-hour streams and doing this kind of QA, but we're around more than just every few Tuesdays. We'll go to the next slide. And if you've ever used Nemotron or you start using Nemotron, you think to yourself, man, it would be way better if, or like, man, I'm really missing this, or you have a comment like someone in the chat at Sailing Antrice who says, will you release GGUF versions of Nemotron for Olam? Great idea. We love to have that idea captured in the actual nemotron.ideas.nvidia.com portal. This is going to be where you can communicate directly to the teams working on these models about what you think you're missing, or what you think you need to do the best job with these models. We'll go to the next slide. Thanks, Zach. And of course, you can email us directly. Zach, I'll let you talk to this point. This is your space. What would you say to the good people watching?
We are listening to you. If you ever run into any problems, you can reach us here. We do actually read these. Chris, maybe not too much, but someone on our team, the dev community team, will definitely go through this and pick out questions, forward it to Chris if needed. But we encourage you to also visit a Discord. That's somewhere that Chris practically lives. So, you can hit him up there just about any time when he's never sleeping.
Yes, and I think we have one more slide, or are we out of slides?
Yeah, that's actually it.
All right, so this isn't a slide, but it is true. We are going to be at NeurIPS, so come on down, ask us any questions if you happen to be in San Diego for that big event. You're more than welcome to come up to the booth or just flag us down in the hallways and ask whatever questions you have, or give us any feedback. Speaking of feedback, we had Umar tried the use case filter for build.nvidia.com. Notice it didn't work. We'll pass that right along to the team so they can be made aware of that, and we'll try to make sure that they've got eyes on it so that we can get a fix for that. Umar, thanks so much for bringing it up. We'll go to our next question. You guys keep slamming the chat. A lot of great questions. Love seeing everybody joining from kind of everywhere all around. At AI Career Path LLC says, can I serve Nemotron with a Rust-based inference server? A Rust-based inference server. So we have released model weights on Hugging Face. If you have a Rust inference server that's compatible with Hugging Face weights, that is potentially an option. We've also released through llama.cpp, which I believe has some analog in Rust. One of the things that I would note is that we're often trying something in our architecture. So Moran spoke to this a little bit earlier, right? We're trying cool stuff, and so the support does not always come immediately. If you find a inference backend that you love that we're not supporting, that's a great thing to either reach out to us through the ideas portal or ask some questions in the Discord so that we can figure out what's the possibility of having that support. Moran, any specific experience that you have with Rust-based inference servers?
Not with Rice-based, but I guess that with this huge ecosystem of open frameworks out there, I'm sure that adding the support for some new framework that uses one of these models is not super hard, especially because you can always introduce a translation layer between your maybe fast API deployment endpoint and your front end application. So in case your front end requires some sort of an API that is currently not supported in the standard inference servers, you can always write that translation layer for your application.
There you go. Listen, there's nothing to stop you from rolling the sleeves up, doing the hard work, and let us know. Please contribute back. One of the things that we're trying to make sure people know is that we welcome contributions from all parts of our stack. And if you do something cool, let us know. We'd love to feature that work and to make sure that as many people as we can tell know about what you're doing out there. We have another. Go ahead.
That's the Nemotron philosophy. Sorry for cutting you off. That's the Nemotron philosophy, because when we have open models, open weights, open recipe, we are encouraging the community to also contribute to the ecosystem, and then that way everybody benefits. And the idea of sharing knowledge and expertise, that's what makes for a great community.
Literally true. And an example of this, right, is someone asked about GGUF endpoints. We don't officially release GGUF. We release just the model weights. We haven't yet released any GGUF endpoints directly, but we do work with teams like Llama CPP. That's literally coming from you guys to make sure that everybody can enjoy and experience this model. Zach, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, just while we're being a little bit sentimental, you're the community guy, extraordinaire, right? What would you say you've noticed about the Nemotron community as it exists today, if it even exists, through all of these interactions you've had with folks?
I think since we started these live streams, that's something that we really wanted to do here at NVIDIA, is to reach out to the community. That's something that we may have not been so, I would say, heads down on in the past, but we were listening. It's just that we have a few more people that can help, and like myself, and get the message out there. And whenever you guys ask a question anywhere, we will try to forward it on to Chris. He loves my long 10-page docs that I send to him and ask him if he could answer some of these questions so I can send back to the community. And like I said earlier, we do try to read everything that you guys send over, be it in the chat. So if you can't reach us in email, if you can't reach us on Discord, you can really just type it in the comments on this YouTube video or wherever you're joining from, on LinkedIn or X, and someone like myself will go through it at some point and then pass it on to Chris. And like Moran said, it's an open ecosystem. So this really helps the community build and learn from each other. That's kind of what we're all here for. And if you guys want to hear about any upcoming releases, let us know what you're interested in, what you have problems with. We're here to help.
What I'm hearing here, Zach, is that we're still figuring this thing out. And that's not just the models, that's also this community. And so please help us shape it however exactly y'all think it needs to be. That's what we're here to do. Okay, that's fun. A little walk down a sentimental lane. But Mohammed Solomon Hussein asks, for production RAG agents built on Nemotron, bit of a hard pivot here, guys. What core monitoring metrics and automated mitigation actions do you recommend to detect and recover from model drift, hallucination, and stale retrievals? This is a big question, okay, with an 8 product answer, okay? So Moran, I give to you the hard task of, with some brevity, answering this question. That first of all, incredible question, very important to be thinking about. Moran, how do you begin to tackle this?
So I guess the way I would begin to tackle this is by carefully instrumenting, the code to make sure that you have the ability to trace and also store the different parts of the code that get invoked throughout the execution of your pipeline. Because one of the things always when it comes to like engineering good software is to be able to not only make sure that it functions well, but also have the foresight to build all the different pieces that are needed to be able to expand it and also debug it in some sense. Because when we're talking about monitoring metrics, things like that, it is in a way debugging your application, even though you're not really like looking for faults, right? You're trying to optimize your application for certain workloads, right? So the way I would, as I said earlier, start kind of walking along that path is to make sure that I have the different metrics, such as how many tokens are getting inputted, how many outputs I'm producing, what is the latency, and also some metrics that are maybe problem specific, determining whether a particular query succeeded, whether the user is happy with the results. Always having this human in the loop kind of a method in your pipeline, it's always really helpful, because it allows you to steer the behavior of the system via human intervention and take steps where necessary. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're correct, right? Like I'm gonna oversimplify something you said, Moran, but just so that everybody can access it, right? Which is like, you can't measure what you can't see, and I think making sure that you can see the system that you want to be able to measure is the only way you can even begin to tackle this question. I think there are lots of, we can say things like, oh, faithfulness could be a decent metric to measure, across iterations for your application, from like the Ragus library or NV Ragus, right? There's all kinds of things like that, but I think Moran is bang on the money, which is that you need to make sure that whatever system you set up lets you see into all facets of the application at all times for every generation. And from there, you're going to be able to find a useful metric that you can use to measure some of these specific cases that you're worried about, like stale retrievals, and monitoring your index to make sure that things are actually being retrieved, and if they're never retrieved, right, figuring out what to do with those pieces of information that could potentially be causing confusion, or finding out if there's any correlation between user thumbs downs and a specific chunk of context, right? All of these things are only possible if you can see the system to measure it. So that's what I'm going to say, to try to, again, oversimplify a bit the knowledge bomb that Moran just dropped on us.
And it's not just limited to RAG agents, right? It's any kind of an agentic applications. You have to have that visibility into what is happening under the hood to be able to, like, down the line, figure all of these things out.
Yeah, literally so important and so true to say, right? Like, this is true for every system that's backed by an LLM, even those not backed by LLMs, as we've discovered over the last 50 years of software engineering. We're going to do a few more questions, guys, because you guys are slamming the chat, which is dope. As Zach may have alluded to, if we didn't get to your question here, he will send me a very long document of questions so we can make sure we get answers to all the questions in the chat. So please, if we don't answer your question live, don't think it's not going to get an answer. And if you want to re-ask it in a different channel, like through Discord, please feel free to do so. A quick one. I'm going to spend just a moment on this. At AI Ran asks, will Nemotron Labs release tools for long context memory beyond 100K tokens, especially for teams working with large theory archives? And while I can't speak to any kind of releases, it's definitely something that's on the radar, right? So memory is an evolving space. It's evolving very rapidly. I know that my team, that's also Moran's team, is actively looking into this issue and trying to figure out what are some great ways we can deal with memory. Again, there's no like specific release that I can speak to, but it is something that we're very cognizant of and want to make sure we're keeping in mind. So you can expect to hear more from us in the future on something like that. we're gonna do 3 more questions, guys. Okay, because I'm stealing time from my esteemed colleagues right now. So we're just gonna do 3 more questions. The first one we're gonna do is from @SolomonSheik official again. For building a RAG agent with Nemotron models, what are the top practical strategies to balance retrieval latency, context window limits, and inference cost in production? We got one of the best guys on the team here with us to help answer this question. Moran, what are some of the top practical strategies you've noticed through your work?
Yeah, so especially when it comes to the Nemotron models, because these are thinking models, and when you operate them in the deep reasoning on mode, because remember, these models have the ability to toggle reasoning on and off, right? When you operate these models in reasoning on mode, even though they get much smarter, they also produce a lot of tokens, which can quickly fill up your context window. So one of the things I've noticed that works quite well, it's a trick, but it's something that you can try out for your application to see how it performs, is when you have it operate in reasoning on mode, you don't need to store all the reasoning tokens in the context window, right? So every time the model outputs something, it outputs the reasoning trace along with the final answer. What you can do is, try experimenting just storing the final answer for it to leave more space in your context window. That's one thing, and it's particularly true for RAG agents as well, because you have all these like different retrievals of relevant documents that you're performing, and those are also going to occupy your context. That is one thing. With respect to inference costs, as we mentioned earlier, these models also provide thinking budget control, where you can limit how much the model spends time on producing these reasoning traces. That's another thing that could be leveraged for building your agents to work around that, not only the context window limit, but also mitigate the inference costs.
I mean, guys, whatever Moran's saying here, just listen to it, take it to heart. Okay, this guy is deep in the weeds on this stuff every day. If you have follow-up questions to that, again, knowledge bomb of a response, right? Please ask them in Discord. I'll make sure that he sees them. We take some time to digest that one. Maybe we'll make a YouTube short out of it or something. But that's a lot of learnings distilled into about 45 seconds to a minute. So Moran, thank you so much for that. Okay, question that I want to talk about. This one for Zach at Grand Prix News asks an important question. Do you provide recommended roadmaps for startups that want to build an MVP using Nemotron models, especially for teams without deep ML infrastructure? Do we do anything like that on this team?
I would say Inception program. The first thing I hear when I think about startups, that's something that you'd want to look into. And I think that team is best positioned to kind of guide you to where you need to go. And if they don't respond, then, keep slamming the chat, as Chris would say. And someone like myself will try to connect the dots.
Yeah, there's so many places to get started. Agentic AI learning paths. We've got the Deep Learning Institute. Moran's got a banger on that as well about training a reasoning model in 24 hours. And then, of course, Zach's absolutely correct Inception program seems like a great place to go if you're a startup. One more question, guys. And there are literally so many. There's so many really great questions that I don't even know how to pick. But I do see one question asking us about, this is from Srijith SG. Tell us more about the Nemotron Elastic that was released yesterday. So Nemotron Elastic is a research model that we just dropped a few days ago from our incredible research teams. And once Zach has located Srijith's message in the chat,
yeah, guys, you gotta forgive me here. I'm doing like a triple duty, managing the chat.
It's just above Solomon Sheik's officials RAG question, just below AVRS's question as well. Thank you again to Zach for doing what is normally his. is full focus behind the scenes while he's joined us live on stage. And also, I heard it might be very, very late for him. So
I really do work here, guys.
but if you could, in the meantime, Zach, just pull up my screen. I've got a diagram we can talk about while we're looking for that question. And this is the diagram that talks a little bit about what that Nemotron Elastic is. So Nemotron Elastic is this new way of thinking about how we're actually producing some of these models. And you might be used to, I'm just trying to make sure so it fits on the screen well. Here we go. So you might be used to the way we think about training models, like we train a model at a time, right? With this approach, we're actually training many different sizes of models all at the same time, which we can choose to deploy as we deploy them. So what this means is that we have a 12 billion parameter model, and nested within that is a 9 billion parameter model, and nested within the 12 billion parameter model as well is a 6 billion parameter model. So the idea is that with this Nemotron Elastic approach, we can actually train many different sizes of models all at the same time. And then again, when we go to do that deployment, when we go to start using the model, we get to make the choice about which model we're going to use at that time. So this is the idea of Elastic. We have a really brilliant technical report on all of this. We have a really, you can play with the model. But this is kind of something that we're always thinking about, right? This is like the research that Moran is talking about when we talk about like efficiency, when we talk about building more efficient models and faster models or smarter models. This is one of the ways using this kind of nesting model dolls, right? That we can do that instead of taking one model and then shrinking it down. Absolutely, we're kind of doing these processes all at the same time. So we're just going to end on that. Yes, Zach is part vampire, I believe. Which one? Maybe it's Dracula, it seems. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us today on the Nemotron Lab's office hours live streams. Thank you so much to my incredible colleagues, both Zach and Moran, for your knowledge and your showing up today. We are going to be back, I believe, next Tuesday, and we got a special one cooked up for you guys next Tuesday. We'll actually be doing the live stream live from San Diego with NeurIPS Convention Center in the background. So we'll be talking to some of our incredible researchers next week. So come with questions prepared about Nemotron and the actual research that's being done. We're going to have some incredible folks on the show to discuss with you guys and to again, just drop knowledge bombs left and right. So thank you again so much to Moran and Zach, and thank you all for showing up. And again, if we didn't get to your question, please reach out through one of our channels. You can reach us at discord.gg/NVIDIA developer in the hashtag Nemotron Models channel, or you can email us at the email shown previously. Thank you so much, guys. Have an excellent rest of your Tuesdays. And if you're in the States, as Zach mentioned at the start, enjoy Thanksgiving. And there you go. Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.